Since 2007, according to the FBI, there have been 146 reported mass shootings. Far too often, a large contributing factor to this recent surge in violence is untreated mental illness.
How did these mentally ill people get access to these guns?
What was missing? Hello, I'm Patrick Dolan.
And I'm Zach Chorney.
We're here to tell you about a law that affects our lives.
Background checks on firearms. What is a background check?
Background checks determine who is eligible for a gun. Officially, a background check is the process of looking up and compiling criminal records, commercial records, and financial records of an individual.
Almost every gun sale requires a background check, but there are 3 big exceptions on the federal level.
These exceptions are gun show sales, private sales, and underground market sales.
Today, we'll just be focusing on the first 2, gun shows and private gun sales.
Let's start with gun shows. Why do they not require background checks? Known as the gun show loophole, most states do not require background checks for firearms purchased at gun shows for private individuals.
The gun show loophole allows you to walk into a gun show and purchase a gun without a background check. On the federal level, there is a law that states that all gun show sales must have a check, but the specifics of that check are left up to the state.
This means that if states do nothing about it, the check could be as much as, "What is your name?"
Many people want to close the gun show loophole, as it has resulted in many criminals getting access to guns without having a background check. Gun shows are not the only way someone can obtain a gun without a background check.
Private gun sales also do not require a background check. A private gun sale is where one individual sells a gun from his or her collection to another individual.
However, this is all on the federal level. On the state level, the gun show loophole has been closed for about 10 years, and private sales do require a background check.
Last February, Senator George Rivera from the Pueblo District sponsored a bill that said that private gun sales do not need background checks.
Reasonable burden. I do not want to remove background checks. I want to put the old system back into place.
Republican Senator George Rivera says only people who purchase firearms at gun stores or gun shows should undergo background checks. He said,
We got the chance to interview him over email. Here are his responses. So, why do you support background checks on gun show sales?
I believe that background checks are ineffectual in keeping weapons out of the hands of those who are intent on doing harm to others. Time has shown that those who are intent on committing crimes will obtain weapons through illegal means.
Do you think mental health checks should be run before a gun sale?
No, I do not. I believe that requiring mental checks would be unconstitutional, since that thesis assumes a mental defect and requires someone to prove that they are mentally fit prior to a purchase. This would be in violation of the principle of law that we are assumed innocent until proven guilty.
We also had the chance to talk to Rhonda Fields, a Democrat from Aurora.
background check himself.
These laws that we have passed are truly making our communities safer.
Democratic Representative Rhonda Fields and her supporters say private sale background checks have kept 122 guns out of the hands of criminals.
Can we have a short background of why you're in politics?
Sure. You know, I guess I was motivated to be involved in politics because of my own personal pain and tragedy. I lost my son through a tragic gun violence situation. And that caused me to step up and no longer be a spectator as it relates to our criminal justice laws.
Rhonda's son was murdered after he witnessed a crime and was set to be a witness in the court case. Why are you for background checks on all firearm sales?
You know, for me, there's some people that should not have access to a gun. So for me, someone who is mentally not stable, someone who has mental health issues and concerns, where they're at risk of hurting themselves or others, then they should be denied an access to have a gun.
Do you think that mental health checks should be used? Because in some cases it doesn't seem that like mentally ill people are like looked into and that they see that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's one of the opportunities that we have as it relates to mental health and gun ownership. Because it's important that we strike a balance, and the balance is not everyone who has a mental health illness is going to go out and kill people. So we need to make sure that we strike a balance in making sure that we have the right protocols and standards in place where physicians report incidents where they believe someone should not have access to a gun, and we still have some work to do there.
What do you hope to accomplish in the future with background checks?
Well, for me, I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish as it relates to background checks. I'm really pleased to say that in 2013, in the state of Colorado, we have universal background checks, which means if you buy a gun new, if you buy a gun on classified ads, if you buy a gun at a trade show, no matter where you try to private sale, no matter what you try to do to buy a gun in the state of Colorado, to do it legally, you'd have to have a background check.
This chart represents how many gun sales were denied with background checks over the course of 5 years. Hopefully, you have seen how much these background checks have made an impact. They've helped keep firearms out of the hands of people who should not have access to guns.
But we cannot stop here. Even with these background checks in place, there's still much more that we can do to make our community a safer and better place. For the people of the day and the children of tomorrow,
Background checks are crucial in keeping our world safe.
thank you.
Background check yourself before you wreck yourself.